Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we took on the Nashville Predators in the first round, and we managed to beat them in 6 games, and obviously we're up here in the second round, and it's going to be probably a pretty tough task ahead of us as we're taking on the 61-18-3 Colorado Avalanche. Meanwhile, we won 59-18-5, so 2 heavyweight teams going to battle in the second round. The winner will obviously take on either Anaheim or Chicago, and hopefully those aren't cheese teams that are able to beat one of us, because of the fact that I think by the end of this series some team is going to be completely beaten up just based on how good these two teams are. But our series with the Nashville Predators was quite interesting. We end up actually dropping the first 2 games of the series, as you can see here, with a 4-3 loss and a 4-2 loss. Then we managed to bounce back with 2 straight wins on their home ice, which was huge. And then we were able to get a win on home ice again and another win on the road to close them out. So we managed to come back with 4 straight wins after losing the first 2 games. And everything's been clicking quite well, I'd say. Like, obviously, our goals against is a little bit high at the moment. Like, our goaltending performance wasn't the best, but our offense had 6 goals, 5 goals, 3 goals, and 5 goals. So 3 of our last 4 games have been 5 or more goals, which is great. So the offense definitely has been providing some much needed offense in a sense. And then, like I was saying, the goaltending has been probably the biggest problem right now on our team, because Gabriel Dag is nowhere playing as good as he has been in the past. If we look here at our goalie stats, you can see he has an .885 through 6 games, so I'm hoping he has a better second round. Obviously, if he doesn't, we could maybe take him out of the lineup for a game. Maybe he needs time to reset, because he has played a lot of hockey over the last 2 seasons, so maybe that's kind of fatigue a little bit sitting in. But, like, from a defensive standpoint, I mean, I was okay with how the defenders played, I'd say, except for Galvas, who was a -3, so hopefully Galvas could be a little bit better in terms of his defensive play. But in general, I think I was impressed with mostly everybody on this team. A little bit disappointed with Kyrou only having the 1 assist in 6 games, but hopefully he could get going in the second round. And also, hopefully Aiden Irving could get going. He came back from injury and only played 2 games of that first round, and he didn't pick up a single point, so it would be nice to get him on the score sheet and helping our team obviously get some more victories. But Philip Grosek definitely stepped up big time when he was out. And yeah, hopefully Grosek continues to do what he did in that first round as well, because 9 points in 6 games, including 5 goals, is great. And he's been a very good playoff player for us these last 2 years, and he's only just getting started. He's only 23 years old. We locked him up long term, and I am very glad we did so, because you can see the 25 goals in 38 playoff games is pretty damn solid. So also, his potential changed to medium elite. I think it was a low elite before, right? So that is quite amazing. So we got ourselves definitely a good steal when we drafted him, and I am glad that we locked him up when we did as well. But anyways, let's get into your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about our first round win, and then we'll get into this heavyweight tilt with the Colorado Avalanche. So the first comment is from Sound Otaku. Says the defense and goaltending need to step up if you want to have any chance of advancing. Should you make it to the conference finals, you're likely going to run up against a cheese team, and likely that's the case. I don't know how good Anaheim and Chicago did this season, but likely it's going to be a very tough task for our team. Regardless, I'd say, like, even though technically we might knock out a good team here if we get to the next round, but I think, like I was mentioning earlier, I think we might be beaten up quite a bit because of the fact that this series probably goes 7 games, my guess, maybe 6 games. But I think it's going to be a very close series, and I think definitely whoever comes out of it might be very tired going into the next round, which maybe gives an easier chance for Anaheim or Chicago to get themselves to that Cup Finals. And the last and final comment is from Michael Dose, who says, solid series. Rumor is owner of the Jets is wanting that Game 7 for extra revenue, but the team didn't listen. And yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't know if I would have wanted a Game 7, to be honest, because yeah, Game 7's just, I had a lot more stress than it's needed, but our team just wanted to keep on winning games, and hopefully they continue to do that into this second round, because like I said, this Avs team is still very good on paper. They do have guys that are dropping off, like Nathan McKinnon is down to like an 85, but when you have like Cale Makar, who's a 97, you have Mikko Rantanen, who's still an 89, like, it's a very good team, especially down the middle. Like, they brought in even other guys like Mercer and Pinto, so like, they have just very good depth in terms of their wingers or center depth. Their defensive core is very strong for the most part, except for 3 guys, I'd say. Goaltending-wise, they do have Stuart Skinner, who had a very good regular season and likely is to win the Vezina. You can see with a .924 save percentage. So they are a very well-structured team. and that's going to make it a little scary. They are also a very old team in a way, because I don't think, let me see, there's Gruel who's in his 20s, but I'm pretty sure everybody on this team is in their 30s. And you have Nybeck who's 29. Yeah, this is a very old roster. I didn't realize how old. But yeah, everybody on this roster is in their 30s except for those two guys. So Nybeck is almost in his 30s, but Gruel's the youngest by a large margin. Like, this team has probably an average age of like 30 something, which is kind of ridiculous compared to us. So they are definitely a veteran-based team. We're still a younger team, even though we technically won that Stanley Cup last season. So anyways, let's get to game number 1 in Colorado, see what we could do here. Hopefully Dag could find his game, like I said, or else maybe we want to decide to give him a night off and give Scarlett a start. And that way Dag can kind of maybe recover a little bit, because maybe he is very tired from all the games last season, all the playoff games last season as well, and then the entire regular season this year, and then the playoff run so far. So I think fatigue could be setting in, but who knows, maybe he's just not doing too well. So here we go, game number 1 in Colorado. Let's see if we can get off to a good start on the road and take a 1-0 series lead. First period of game number 1. 1-1. Pretty much exactly what I was kind of expecting. Like I said, I think this series is going to be very close, and that first period definitely was. Nybeck scored first for them, and then Groshek scores for us. So Groshek continuing on that crazy trajectory in terms of his goal scoring in the playoffs. Shots are 9-7, so yeah, very even period. Let's see if we could grab that lead, because we've not had the lead yet in this game. Second period, 3-2 for us. Okay, that's nice. Luke Misa and Logan Stankoven gave us a 3-1 lead, but that goal with 5 seconds left by Gruel, I don't like giving up those goals, as you guys would have known if you watched I think it was my last episode of my Halifax Raiders series. I think I've had goals like that happen as well, and I don't like those late extra period goals, because they kind of carry the momentum for the team that scored them into the next period. So I'm hoping that's not the case with Colorado. Shots are 19-14, so both goalies haven't been great so far, especially Stuart Skinner, who's allowed 3 goals on 14 shots. So hopefully we can find a way to get some more on him, because obviously being up by only a goal going into the third isn't ideal. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we can get some insurance and lock this game down if possible. Come on, boys, you got this. We're off to a good start here in terms of offense, which is nice. Power play for us. We do not score on it. At least it killed some time off the clock, and Cale McCartan tied it up, of course. I knew they were going to tie it up when they scored late in that second period, and we are going to be going to overtime in game 1. So yeah, this is definitely what I kind of expected, and I think it could go to overtime a lot of times in this series. Final shots are 32-28 in favor of Colorado at the end of regulation, and it's an even game. We need Gabriel Dag to just be as good as possible here in overtime, and then hopefully we could find a way to score a goal in that overtime segment. Because if we could get a win in Colorado, that sets us up for a good spot. But obviously, if we end up losing games in Colorado, then we're going to have to win games on home ice for sure. Let's see what happens in overtime. Who wants to be the hero for us? Maybe Kagorodov? I don't even know exactly. Penalty kill. Nicely done, boys. Power play for us. We do not score on it. And then they score. Of course they do. And it's Igor Sokolov. Unfortunately, we're going to lose after we had a 3-1 lead. And that's exactly what I was kind of thinking was going to happen when they scored with 5 seconds left in the second. Well, that's not a great first game. I mean, it's not a terrible first game. I mean, Dag was okay in that game. He made 34 saves, but we just could not hold on to our lead. We might have to make some defensive adjustments here. So Groshek from Hellenius and Stankoven, Misa from Jaquizi and Kairu, and Stankoven from Groshek. Yeah, I think I'm going to make some adjustments to the lineup. I think I'm going to. Let me take a look at the plus-minus stuff. Ooh, kind of -2s. -3 from Palin, -2 from Vernarski. Okay, yeah, we definitely got to readjust our defense a little bit. I just don't know who's going to be playing with who. But that's not great. Obviously, we got to be a lot better than that. But that first game, we lose in overtime, and that ends our 4-game winning streak. Let's make some adjustments here and see what we could do to get our offense going a little bit more so than last game, and also get our defense going. So Irving is on the power play, but he has not even found a way to score yet, which is kind of crazy. We'll move Stankoven down here, and Irving could get the point instead. From an offensive standpoint, I don't know if there's much I want to change up about the lineup, to be honest. Like, I think the offense has been okay. This third line is -3, a lot of them, though, which is not ideal. So I think we'll probably... Is there anything I would change about this top 6? Not really. I think the top 6 is fine the way it is. But from a defensive standpoint, I definitely think we need to make some adjustments. So this pairing was minus last time, and then we know that Galvis and stuff has not been super wood. So let's go Vernarski top pairing, Cairo second pairing back with Palin. I think we had that together last time around, but I don't remember for sure. And then, yeah, Gabriel Dag, his save percentage got better, I think. I think we'll definitely start him for next game again, but like I said, maybe Logan Scarlett gets an opportunity soon. So I think that is good. Is there anybody I could call up from the minors out of curiosity? Not really. I guess there is some defensemen I could call up if I really get stuck. I think I'm going to keep it the same. Is there anybody scratch that I would dress? Maybe Rantanen, but he's a two-way defenseman. So I'd have to take somebody like Galvis out probably if I wanted to do that, which I don't think I want to do that just yet. So we'll probably keep it the same for now, but obviously if our defense doesn't play good, if our goaltending doesn't play good, we need to find a way to kind of fix that a bit, because I think our offense still has been fine, but we need to find a way to hold on to those leads, and that comes down to defense and goaltending mainly. So let's see if we can get a good response. Obviously we're still in Colorado, so it would be nice to take a game in their building. Obviously coming off an OT loss, hopefully we get that fire lit under our ass, so to speak, and we're able to get back into the series here in game 2. So let's see what happens, see if we could tie it at 1, headed home, and then anything could probably happen once we get to home ice. So first period of game number 2. 2-0 Avs. That's not a good start there, Mr. Dag. Not a good start. Both teams had 14 shots, but they had 2 goals. Nathan McKinnon and Tyson Forster. So not an ideal start. Obviously, we need our offense to get going here in the next period if we want to get back into this. But from a goaltending and defensive standpoint, I might honestly change goalies next game. Give Dag a break because he has not been ideal so far. And in the defense, maybe we make some adjustments there. But you could definitely see the difference between this year's defense and last year's defense, because I think the thing losing Charlie McAvoy and trying to trust the youth movement, I think that's where we kind of went wrong defensively. But obviously it could still work out in our favor. But obviously our defensive core is nowhere near as strong as it was last year when we won the Stanley Cup. So let's see if we could have a good response in the second period to maybe get us back into the game. We don't need to score both goals in the next period, but it would be nice. We could score only 1 goal, and that would help out a lot too. But don't be down 2-0 after 2. Or don't be down by multiple goals after 2 periods. Kind of stick into this game and see if we could get back into it. Second period. There we go, boys. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. Irving makes it 2-1, and Vandermeer makes it 2-2. So they have blown a 2-0 lead. Now, what's kind of crazy, though, is the shots are 28-18 in favor of us. That means I think that we had 14 shots to their 4 in that second period. And, yeah, we managed to get this game tied back up. Now, the question is, can we grab that lead, which we have not had yet? It would be very nice to have that lead. Let's see what happens in this third period if anybody wants to step up. It's good that Irving scored, though, because I was getting a little bit scared that he wasn't going to score for a while, because he had not scored at all in those first 3 games he played back in the lineup. Rantanen makes it 3-2. Can we have an answer to that, boys, please? Get it to another overtime, maybe? That would be nice, please. Final few minutes, and they get the empty net, and we're going to lose 4-2. On 2 late goals. We outshot them 39-27, yet we lose 4-2. I wouldn't really fully put that on our offense. Our offense generated a lot of chances. The goaltending has not been there really, and the defensive play hasn't either. So I think we are going to take Dag out next game and give Scarlett an opportunity, which might be a bad thing to do. But obviously, after a great second period, we kind of just fell apart in the third. Irving from Misa and Lucius, and then we had Vandermeer from Vernarski and Dvorak. Yeah, Stuart Skinner had a good game again. Obviously, he's a good goaltender because he probably won the Vezina this year too, so it's going to be definitely tough to get our offense able to score consistently against him. The good thing is now that we're heading home ice, we could still win both our games on home ice, hypothetically. Obviously, if we lose one, we're in a very bad spot, though. So we need to find a way to respond. I'm surprised that Colorado, who won the President's Trophy, might be going to the conference finals. So they might try and do what we did last year, where we won the President's Trophy and Stanley Cup in the same season. So, I am going to move Irving to the second line, Groshek to the top line. I like Groshek's play a lot better right now. From a defensive standpoint, let me take a look at the plus minuses. It's mostly Galvis. I'm going to take Galvis out of the lineup for a game. And I'm going to give Rantanen an opportunity to play. And from a goalie perspective, yeah, we're going to give Logan Scarlett his first playoff start. And I know it might be a little bit questionable doing it right now, but we need to find something to make us better defensively. And then I think that's all we're going to do. We could also put Hellenius to the top line, hypothetically. Let's try that out, too. So it's Lucius, Stankov, and Irving, Groshek, Misa, and Hellenius instead. Then the rest of the bottom six is probably going to stay the same. I think the fourth line still... I don't like the way that third line is playing at all, though. I mean, Kegrodov has been solid, but like when you have like Misa, who's a -5... You have Jaquezi, who's a -4. We are going to make an adjustment. We're going to put Jaquezi to the fourth line, Wilson to the third line, and hope that that helps out the defensive play a little bit better. Like, hopefully Jaquezi could go down to that fourth line and be better, and then hopefully Wilson playing with Misa could help him out defensively, because it seems like Misa and Jaquezi have not been that good. I don't know why they're -5. Because it doesn't have to do with being on the penalty kill, for sure, because that it doesn't attribute to plus minus. So I think those are going to be our adjustments, and we're going to see if we can get a good response from the team. Obviously, if we can win both these home games, we'll be back to square one again, which would be nice. Obviously, last round against Nashville, we lost the first 2 games as well, so don't count us out just yet. We could hypothetically win both these home games, and then it might be a best of 3, which would be great. So let's see what happens, see if we can get a response in Game 3 on home ice and show that we're actually still a competitive team, because right now we're getting outplayed by a team that only won a little bit more games than us in the regular season. So here we go. First period of a crucial game number 3. 3-0 us. That's exactly how we want to see it. Irving with 2 goals. He didn't like getting relegated to the second line, but he scores 2 big goals early on. And we also get 1 from Dennis Palin. Shots are 11-10 in favor of us. We have 3 goals on 11 shots. This is definitely a good response so far. But obviously, we still got to win this game. We got to win the next game as well to get back into the series. Second period. 5-2. Okay, I'll take it. They almost got back into the game. Byron made it 3-1. Vandermeer made it 4-1. Rantanen made it 4-2. And then Lucius with a big shorthanded goal has given us that lead. By multiple goals again. Now, what's interesting is Joseph Woll is now in net for them. So after that first period, I guess they put in Woll. We're obviously running Scarlett, and he's been decent so far, 20 saves. Hopefully he can hold them off a little bit longer. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we could lock this game down. And hopefully we could have a good next game. They get an early power play goal from Kale McCarr, and Sokolov pulls them within 1. Oh no, don't do this to me, game. You got this, Logan. You got this. I know you do. And hopefully our offense can find another goal here. Penalty kill. Oh my goodness. We just blew a 5-2 lead. That's our second time we've blown a big lead in this series. And we are going to be going to overtime for the second time in 3 games. Obviously, if we lose this game, we're going to have to find a way to reverse sweep them, which is not exactly what I wanted to have on my bingo card today. So shots are 34-28. They definitely outplayed us in that third period. I'm not putting this on Scarlett. I'm saying our defensive play has not been there, because we should have been able to find a way to close out the game defensively, but it seems like we're just giving up way too much chances, and obviously that's costing us. So I don't know what the problem is with the defensive core. Maybe, like I said, it's the lack of having a veteran presence like Charlie McAvoy back there, and the fact that we're a younger team. But obviously it would be huge if we could find a way to still win this game after blowing that lead. So, because we're going to have to reverse sweep them, and I don't think that's going to be possible considering how good of a team they actually are. So let's see what happens in overtime. Who wants to be the hero for us? Please get that game-winning goal, boys. Please get it done. And I didn't even see who scored. It was us. Let's go. Groshek Let's go. Groshek might be like my new favorite player other than Irving. Love this guy. Let's go, Groshek. Huge win there for the boys on home ice, and we are now back into the series despite blowing that lead. I don't like our defensive play still, but we are still in this series, which is good. Final shots are 34-32, and we win 6-5. Yeah, this has been, I'd say the first, yeah, obviously it's been a close series because we could have technically won game one as well, but I don't like how our defense has been consistently inconsistent. So Irving from Kyrou, Irving from Stankoven and Kyrou. Then we had Palin from Kyrou. So Christian Kyrou, who had been quiet, picked up 3 assists in the first 4 minutes and 32 seconds of the game. Pretty crazy. Then Vandermeer from Lucius and Stankoven, Lucius from Kyrou and Jacuzzi. And the game-winning goal is Groshek's 7th of the playoffs already from Hellenius and Ryan McLeod. 3 stars of the game, Christian Kyrou 4 assists, Irving the 2nd star, and Nathan MacKinnon the 3rd star with 4 points for them. So MacKinnon tried to get them back into the game and nearly did. Nearly won them the game. That's pretty crazy. Okay, so there's a nice win on home ice. Obviously not the best defensive effort or goaltending effort. We are going to be going back to Gabriel Dag this game. Hopefully he's well rested, and hopefully he can come out with a vengeance and do kind of what he did last year when we won the Stanley Cup and get us this series tie. Because if we tie the series up here, like I said, it's a best of 3, and hopefully we are able to find a way to do what we did against Nashville and just keep on winning games after we win 2 in a row. So I think we're going to keep the team the exact same, which might be controversial based on the fact we allowed 5 goals. Actually, let me go to adjust the lines here and see if there's anything I can do to maybe get this better. How was Rantanen in his first game? Our defenseman, not there. Rantanen -2. Don't really like that. Seems like whoever plays down there doesn't do well. Let's go back to Louis Vara and Vandermeer. We'll go with Palin. Actually, maybe we'll do Palin and Vandermeer. Load up on the best 2 defenders. And then we'll probably do Vernarski and Kyrou, which leaves Louis Vara and Rantanen, which I don't really like. We have a lot of 2-way defenders. Not really any DFDs in our lineup. Yeah, that might be another thing that is playing into the fact of our defense. We don't have a lot of DFDs. Wasn't Scarlett down here DFD? Yeah, he is. Should I call him up? I feel like calling him up and sending Rantanen down. I think that's what I'm going to do. It might be a little bit of a weird take, but we need a defensive defenseman in our lineup. So Scarlett's going to come up. Can I just call him up on his own? No, I cannot. So I'm going to have to send Rantanen down, which is okay. The AHL team's season is done anyways, so I don't really care about the AHL team's lines too much anyways. But let's get the other Scarlett in. So now we have 2 Scarletts in our lineup, and hopefully this one helps us out in terms of defensive play a little bit here. Oh, that's not a -3, right? There's no way that is. Let's just go best lines in the AHL. And why did it quit? Stupid thing. Let me go back to edit lines here. I don't think that was a -3. If it is, I'm going to have to readjust it a little bit. No, it's an even 0. Okay. So now we have a DFD. We have a 2-way defenseman, an offensive defenseman, a 2-way, an offensive, and a defensive. Hypothetically, probably having the 2 DFDs in the bottom 4 would make more sense. But yeah, our defense doesn't really have the best chemistry. Actually, maybe I will go for Narski and Vandermeer and then Palin and Kyrou. Yeah, we'll go something like that. I don't really even know, to be honest, but I don't know if that's going to help us out defensively or not, but we need to find a way to win this next game. We win this next game, we are back in the series fully. If we lose this game, we have to still win 3 straight games, which is going to be a hill, especially against this Avs team. So here we go, Game 4 on home ice. Can we tie this series and get ourselves back to square one again? Come on, boys, you got this. First period of game number 4. 3-0 start again. What the heck? Okay, we literally just had this exact same thing last game. We scored 3 goals in the opening period. This time around, Jacuzzi scores a shorthanded goal. Michael Misa scores. And with 1 second on the clock, Aiden Irving makes it 3-0. That's a huge goal from Aiden Irving. Because a 2-0 lead, it would be decent, but obviously a 3-0 lead is much better. Shots are 15-8 in favor of us, so far we're playing a lot better hockey in terms of our offense. Hopefully our defense can find itself in this game, though. Considering the last game, obviously, it blew the lead pretty much, and we nearly lost and went down 3-0 in the series, so We need to find a way to have a good defensive second period if possible. Second period, 4-1. Okay, that's good. Jacuzzi scores again, and McKinnon scores for them. We're up by 3 goals. The shots are pretty even, though, 22-21. Let's see if we can lock this game down and show that we actually have defensive structure. Come on, boys. Please, just play good defensively, and hopefully Dag could play good here the rest of the way. Power play for us, and we do get a power play goal from Groshek, who is pretty automatic. And then he scores another power play goal. Yep, he is definitely pretty automatic. Yeah, Groshek is a cheat code. Cates makes it 6-2. But our offense has been much better these last 2 games, and our defensive play in this game was much better as well. As we're going to close out that game 6-2, and we have won 2 in a row after we were down 2-0. So both home teams have won both their home games so far. Shots are 34-27 at the end of it, but that's a good game. That's exactly kind of what I want to see. Good defense, good goaltending, and that offense to be consistent like it has been these last 2 games. So Jacuzzi from Kyrou, then we had Misa from Hellenius and Groshek, Irving from Lucius and Louis Vara, Jacuzzi from Dvorak and McLeod, Groshek from Misa and Irving. Okay. 3 stars of the game, Groshek, Irving, and Jacuzzi. Kind of nice to see Jacuzzi helping out with the offense, considering he got demoted to the 4th line. So with that, we have a tie series, and oh no, Christian Kyrou has been injured. He was injured last year too when we won the cup, right? A couple times, like I think it was for the 2nd round too, where he missed a couple games, but he's out till May 16th. Let me just go replace player for now, but that's a pretty substantial blow. He will be out for the rest of the series against the Avs, so that means we're gonna have to find a way to win 2 games with one of our best offensive defenders. Yeah, that's not great. That is not great at all. Let's see the defense. Galvas gets thrown in, and that's a -3. Okay, so we're going to have to run, I guess, Louis Vara and Palin. Who is more offensively inclined? Not really anybody in particular. I guess we'll go with Palin on that side because of a shot. Yeah, I guess our defense is not going to be as good. That loss of Kyrou is going to hurt quite a bit. Considering he had 7 assists in 10 games and was +4, yeah, that's a pretty substantial blow to the team right now. So we probably would have had to call up him regardless, or Scarlett regardless. I could call up Branton again since we have the extra player there, but I don't know about doing that. I'll let Galvas get an opportunity in the top 4 for now. If he's bad again, he could get taken out, but actually not in the top 4, in the top 6, because he does not work with Palin at all. I could put him hypothetically up with Vandermeer, but I don't think that's going to work out well either. So, let me see. Offense is fine considering he scored 6 goals in the last 2 games. I think we're good. Obviously, we need to find a way to continue playing like we've been playing these last 2 games, though, in terms of offense. But the defense still needs to improve. Obviously, last game it was good. That's a good stepping stone, but we needed to do that consistently night in and night out, not just do that once in a while. So Groshek has 15 points in 10 games, 9 goals already. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm really liking Groshek's playoff performance so far up to this point. Let's get into the next game and see if we could take our first lead of the series. Obviously, we dropped the first 2 games. Hypothetically, we could be up 3-1 in the series at this point if we didn't lose game 1, which is kind of nuts. So let's see what happens here in Colorado, see if it's going to be still the home ice winning trend, and see if we're able to maybe change that and get a win on the road. Come on, boys, you got this. First period of game number 5. Ride that momentum, please. And we don't ride that momentum yet. Nathan McKinnon scores with 5:49 left in the first. Shots are 15-8 in favor of Colorado. We're lucky to only be down by a goal because we gave up a lot of chances in that first period, but Gabriel Dag starting to find his game a little bit, it looks like, in terms of these last 2 games. Obviously, it'd be nice to get our offense going in the next period, considering we've scored 6 goals in back-to-back games, and we didn't score any in the first period there. So let's see if we could have a good response in the second period and show Colorado that we're just as much of a potent threat offensively as we were last game. Second period, 3-1 Avs. We tied it up, and it was Groshek, of course. But then Forster and Goncalves score to give them a 2-goal advantage. That late goal by Goncalves, not a good one to give up. Shots are 25-19. We're down by a pair of goals. Is it Colorado's time to maybe blow a lead? Let's see if we can find a way to spoil their fun in the third period. Come on, guys. Let's get back into this game. We're only down by 2 goals. Penalty kill. Nicely done, penalty killers, but don't take penalties, please, because that kills time off the clock. And we're not generating enough here. We're getting badly outshot, and there's a goal from Ozzy Weisblatt to make it 4-1. And that trend of the home ice team winning games is going to continue to the next game, as unfortunately after Hellenius scores, we are going to lose 5-2. And I would not put that on Dag, because he faced 42 shots in that game. We gave up way too much chances. That's probably because of the fact that Kyrou got hurt, but nothing we can really do about that. That sucks, man. Groshek's 10th from Misa and Vandermeer, and Hellenius from Groshek and Misa. Yeah, Stuart Skinner was good again, so it's the home ice winning trend right now. I'm hoping that it continues like that, because obviously that means we'd be going to a Game 7, and then maybe it's going to change in Game 7, because I have seen that type of thing happen before. We need to win 2 straight games. We've done it multiple times in this series, or not in this series, in this playoff run so far. So it would be nice to do, obviously, in this series against the Avs. But we definitely need to make some adjustments. I am going to call up that under Rantanen, and he's going to be our depth option for the rest of this time. Actually, I could call up Bishop. Is Bishop defensive? He's an offensive defenseman. That's interesting. I forgot about Pierce Bishop, to be honest. Would be interesting to get Pierce Bishop in, but I don't really know if... I guess technically we did just lose an offensive defenseman with Kyrou. But is that going to make us more of a defensive liability? It's actually not bad defensively for an offensive defenseman. Let's give an opportunity to to Pierce Bishop. Might be a little bit weird. I'd be over the player limit. What do you mean? Oh, Kyrou's back almost to being healthy. I didn't realize it was that short term of injury. I guess we will maybe just keep it the way it is then. I was going to call up him just so that way we can get an offensive defenseman to replace Kyrou, but seems like he will be back soon. The question is, do I get him in for this next game and risk that he gets injured again? Like, it is a major risk doing that, but it might be worth it because of the fact that our team is much worse without him. So yeah, we're going to take Galvis out, I think, already, and we are going to get Kyrou back in, which might be a risk, but it's a risk I'm willing to take because we need to get that offense back, and we need to make our defensive core stronger. I'm hoping he doesn't get re-injured because that would not be great, but if he does, hopefully it's only short term. But we need him in our lineup to get our power play going right. So, because yeah, he's on that second power play unit. So, he's kind of a big backbone of that defensive core a little bit. So, we need him in our lineup. We are also going to make some adjustments. Go back to Jacuzzi on that third line because he showed me he could score a little bit more. And the rest of this lineup, I think, will stay the same. Been really a big fan of Groshek's play. Yeah, we still need to get our depth scoring maybe a little bit better, but it hasn't been terrible. Yeah, I think we're going to go back to that again. And we'll go back to Palin and Vandermeer. Vernarski will play with Kyrou, Louis Vara, and Scarlett. Okay. Well, this is a big game. Obviously, we're on the brink of elimination. We need to force a Game 7 back in Colorado. So far, it's been a home ice win trend, so let's hope it continues tonight and that we are able to force ourselves into a Game 7 situation. New Jersey's on to the conference finals, so Cole Perfetti will have a chance to maybe go to the Stanley Cup finals again with the Devils. I feel like he might win a Stanley Cup because after leaving us, which is kind of funny, but let's see if our team could continue on that trend too. Let's see what happens. Real-time simulation on home ice, looking to force a Game 7. Let's do it, boys. Let's do it. Let's play good defensive hockey for a change and get our offense going again. Groshek has been great so far. Let's not put that to waste. Power play. We do not score on it. That's not ideal. And we do score first, though. Aiden Irving, but they have an answer literally 8 seconds later from Nathan McKinnon, but we answer like a minute later from Michael Misa on the power play. But they have an answer to that as well. Shane Pinto ties it at 2 apiece. Not ideal. But an offensive start to this game. We have 2 goals on 9 shots. They have 2 goals on 15 shots. So Dag has been playing better than Skinner up to this point. But we do have a deadlock game. So need to play better defensively in the second period if possible. And maybe keep our offense that we got from that first period going a little bit more as well. Let's see what happens in period number 2. This is a big period for both teams. Power play for us. We already have one power play goal tonight. Can we score another? Yes, we can. Wilson of all people. Let's go. Okay, Wilson. I see you. Power play again for us. And we score another one from Wilson. Okay. Well, we were literally on the power play for like more than half the period, it seemed like, at that stage. And then Sokolov has pulled the Avs back within one again. I don't like that they always seem to have an answer to one of our goals. We had a lot of shots on those power play opportunities, which we probably should have. 30-19 are the shots now. We're only up by a goal. So Skinner kind of kept them in it, in a sense, in that period, and they were able to get a late one, which is kind of scary. We need to get some insurance to lock them down, because this could be our last period of the season if we're not able to find a way to close this one out. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we get forced that Game 7. Come on, boys, you got this. You got this. Tyson Forster ties it at 4. Power play again for us, and we don't score on that power play. We've had a lot of power play chances in this game. Come on, boys, please. Come on. Groshek, I know you have more goals than you, man. You're the goal-scoring machine. How about Aiden Irving? Power play for us late. We're going to overtime. In a do-or-die Game 6, I would tune in to watch this game, but I don't want this episode being super, super long, so we aren't going to watch this. If it's a Game 7 scenario when we go to overtime, we will. But Game 6, we're not going to do that. So we need to be really good here in overtime. We're out shooting them 43-25. So Gabriel Deg not having the best game. Our offense has been good. We're generating enough chances. It's just the goaltending and defense that hasn't been there right now at this stage. So can we force a Game 7 back in Colorado for all the marbles? And who wants to be the hero for us on this team? Come on, guys. We blew a lead again. Let's not blow this. Let's win this OT game. We won a game in OT before. We could do it again. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Power play for us in overtime. We do not score there. That kind of sucks. Was hoping Groshek could have found some way to put it into the back of the net. Penalty kill. And they win it in overtime. Tyson Forster. I'm going to put that game on Gabriel Deg in the defense again. And we lose in 6 games to the President's Trophy winners. As I expected, this series was going to be a tough one. And it definitely was. I wouldn't really put a lot of blame on this team too much, because obviously we're a younger team than we were last year, almost in a sense, because we did decide to lose like Charlie McAvoy and whatnot. But that really hurts. We had 48 shots on goal, and yet we end up losing 5-4. Look at all the penalties doing that second period. Yeah, look, Cale Makar got ejected from the game. Like, literally, they took a penalty there, they took a penalty there, and then there was a major penalty from Cale Makar. Tyson Forster didn't get an interference penalty there, too. So, we should have been able to score a lot more goals than just those couple goals that we scored in that second period. And then, yeah, they took a lot more penalties in those third periods. Like, we got a lot of power play opportunities. Like, the refs might have been on our side. All regulation. Yeah, because we didn't take any penalties in regulation. And then we took our first penalty in overtime. And that's when they scored, I think. It's literally just 2, 6. We had 8 power plays in this game. 9 power plays in this game. And we only scored like 2 power play goals. Which is kind of nuts. I think we only scored 2 power play goals. I don't even know. But Irving from Lucius and Stankoven. Misa from Vandermeer and Irving. Wilson from Groshek and Lucius. And Wilson from Groshek and Kyrou. And then we end up blowing our lead. Tyson Forster completing the comeback for them. Damn, man, that sucks. A lot of guys on 2 points. A lot of guys with a ton of shots on goal. And a lot of minus players. And yeah, terrible stats from Gabriel Deg. Oh, boy. Puck possession time. That doesn't get tracked. Couple hits from some people. Vandermeer played 31 minutes. McLeod only 7 minutes. Damn, man, that sucks. So there is that. We are eliminated in the second round after winning a Stanley Cup last year, which means there's going to be a new champion this season, but that's okay. At least we won last year. But we do still have a very good young roster, and it definitely shows that it could score a lot of goals in the playoffs, but obviously the defensive work still needs work. Let's take a look at our player stats, and then we'll obviously take a look at who wins the Stanley Cup and all that stuff, wrap up the season. But Like, Chaz Lucius was over point per game. We had Michael Misa just under point per game. Stankoven had 9 points. He's a big decision on what we do with him this offseason. We had Luke Misa, who is terrible defensively. -10 in 12 games. So maybe we rework the third line. Luke Misa has been a very solid player. He is still signed for a few years. If we move Stankoven, does Misa go into the top 6 and maybe that helps him out defensively? Or do we try and move on from him instead of Stankoven? I don't really know. Kagerodov did nothing in that second round after he had a great first round. Not ideal. He was -5 as well. So yeah, that third line definitely held us back quite a bit defensively. And then look at Philip Grosek, though. This guy's on a different planet right now. Like 19 points this year. He had more points than all of his playoff points last year. He's been over point per game in the playoffs in his career. So shout out to Grosek, who is showing me he's going to be a very stud player soon. Hellenius was solid as well. Irving had 7 points in 8 games. He was actually pretty good in that round. Jaquezie on 7 points as well. And Wilson on 5. Picked up 2 of those goals in that last game. Defensively, Kyrou was good. Didn't get re-injured, but maybe that also played a little bit of a factor in that game that he wasn't fully healthy. I don't know. Vandermeer and Vernarski had 5 points. Same with Palin. Yeah, the plus-minus not the best. And then the goaltending was absolutely atrocious. Like, Logan Scarlett won his only game but had an .852. And then Dag had an .885 through 11 games. So, I don't really know where we went wrong. Maybe the inexperience on the defense, but you could definitely see Luke Misa by far was the worst player defensively. And then Jaquezie and Kagerodov up there too. So that third line is probably the most problematic part. Maybe not even the defensive core compared to them. That's not great. Well, let's see who goes on to win a Stanley Cup. Will it be the Avs that go on to win the Cup after they beat us? Will they win the Cup and the President's Trophy in the same season just like we did last year? Or will New Jersey find a way to win a Stanley Cup with Cole Perfetti in their lineup? Because I could see that happening, to be honest. But because they won their division with only 100 points, they do win the Stanley Cup. Oh my goodness. Of course. Cole Perfetti is a 3-time Stanley Cup champion now, and he's won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Of course he does. What are the chances that he goes on to win a Stanley Cup in the same season that we dealt him away? I mean, we dealt him to Dallas, though, and we do have Dallas's first rounder, so I'm hoping that we do have a chance to win this draft lottery still. But, of course, Cole Perfetti goes on to win in a rematch of the 2001 Cup Finals in 7 games. Interesting. Let's take a look at that Devils team for fun. But so we did lose to the best Western Conference team at least. But imagine if we would have been able to get to the finals against New Jersey. That would have been interesting. So what did the Devils have other than Cole Perfetti? So they have Matty Beniers, damn, 31 points. Nico Hischier. Look at that center depth. Adding Perfetti was insane. In addition, Borgo is there. That's craziness. Really good depth scoring down the middle. Jesper Bratt was good. Landeskog is there at 39. So that's why he wasn't in Colorado. But he does win against his former team, which is kind of funny. Miles Wood there too. So Miles Wood returned back to New Jersey after his time in Colorado. That's interesting. Timo Meier, Robinson Mangone, Maxime Massé. And then there's their defense. Interesting. Goaltending wise, Dustin Wolf. Shout out to Dustin Wolf. And Topias Leonin. But yeah, that team has very good depth scoring when that's like pretty close to what our team was like last season. They had 6 guys that were around point per game. Just kind of nuts. So shout out to the Devils for winning a Stanley Cup, and shout out to Cole Perfetti, who's now a 3-time Cup champion. Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, he was on both our Cup winning teams, and now he's on a Devils Cup winning team. So there's that. Colorado won the President's Trophy, and there is that. Let's see these awards. Pasternak, the Art Ross in the Hart. McCarr to Norris. Lady Byng going to Pasternak. Calder going to Ekman of the Capitals. Beniers wins the Conn Smythe. Skinner to Vezina. Dag won the Jennings for us, but that matters. Evinger wins the Masterton for Columbus. Calgary's coach wins the Jack Adams. Stutzla wins the Selke. Wasn't this guy our head coach at one point? Or is that my other series that he was our head coach? I don't even know. They're all generated, so it's hard to remember. Pasternak wins the Lindsay, and Pasternak wins the Richard. So a lot of awards for David Pasternak. Any awards in the AHL for our AHL affiliate? Does not. Oh, Yakula Is that our Yakula that used to play with us? Yeah, that would be, because we traded him to Buffalo. He was the best sportsmanship player, so shout out to Yakula, our former boy. But there is the AHL awards as well. Okay, now the question is, are we going to be able to win the draft lottery with Dallas's pick? Because if we do, that would be a huge addition to our team. Obviously, I don't know what the draft class looks like, but that's the next big thing for this team, is how good did we do with that Dallas pick? Are we going to stay in that spot, or are we going to have one of those crazy jump ups? Let's see what happens. Please, Dallas pick. 8th overall is still pretty good. And we do have players on our team we could move if we want to move up even higher than that. But we have the 8th overall pick because of that trade with Cole Perfetti, which is pretty nice. So we'll definitely see what we could grab at that spot. Hopefully we can find a way to maybe move up so we could get an elite player. But there's that. Wow, Nathan McKinnon just retired after we just played him in the playoffs, huh? Crazy. So here's the retirement class. We're obviously not going to suffer any retirements because we're a super, super young team. Christian Reichel retired. Obviously, he used to be a Jet at one point. Left wing side of things. I'm just going to scroll through this. I don't see anything to really point out. Jansen Harkins, former Jet. Anything else interesting? Kevin Stenlund, former Jet. And same with Nick Patan, I guess, even though that was way before we took over. Defensive core wise, Dougie Hamilton, Morgan Riley. 5-game suspension. There's that. Goalie wise, Vasilevsky, Hellebuck, so big. Oh wow, Connor Hellebuck retired. Shout out to Connor Hellebuck, retiring at 39. He was a great goalie for us in the early years. Won a Stanley Cup with us too. Right here in 2025. I believe, did he win with Chicago, or he came close to at least, but he definitely dropped off a lot in these last few years. So shout out to him, and that is that. Okay, did we lose any coaches? Does not look like it so far. No, we did not. Perfect. Okay, so now comes the interesting stuff. So let's get to the progress reports, the contract situation, and what this draft class is looking like. So we're still a very young team, so obviously I don't really want to blow up anything crazy, but we do have some big decisions this offseason on who we want to re-sign and trade away potentially. But, ooh, Groshek developed some X factors, close quarters, and spinorama. I don't think he had those, so that's nice. Don't know why he developed those, but it is what it is. Probably his deking's up high or something. So, yeah, we're getting some growth, which is good. Some of it's statistical based, but some of it not so much. Kagerodov's still staying as like an 81 if we want to use him as a third liner, but we do want to maybe rework that third line a bit based on how it played in the playoffs. Stanley King is ready to be a backup goalie. So that gives us one of our dilemmas that we have. Stanley King could play as a backup. We have Scarlett as well, who's a backup. And then we have Gabriel Dag, who has one more year left, I think, of RFA status. Do we trade away Dag, or do we basically pitch one of the backup goalies? That's a weird decision. I don't know what to make of that one. Lorkainen up to a 72. We also have Bishop, who's a depth defenseman. We have Nordstrom still as a depth defender. Reese up to a 70 is a low 4. Guerrero up to a 68 at 22 is not great for a low elite. So I don't know if he's going to pan out. What else we got here? Fairchild is likely to be a bust. Former first-round pick. Don't want to talk about it. Lannon up to a 77 as a top 6 forward at 20. That's pretty damn good. He just played 1 year in the AHL too, so Dwayne Lannon might be able to crack our lineup next season or in the next 2 years. Eberle up to a 76, Enroth as well as low elites, which is good. Those guys might be fourth liners soon. Anything else interesting? Reason up to a 65 at 19 isn't bad. What about center-wise? Bickle up to a 76 at 22. Ranta's still a 76 at 24. This guy's probably not going to pan out. And then Matsumoto's only a 69 at 21. Damn, I was hoping he'd grow a lot faster, but he's not growing that fast at all. So I might have to give him a contract for the AHL next season. Him and Jamal Hurd are both 69 overalls at this point. Okay, so there is that. Let's take a look at the contract situation, see who's up for renewal. Like, we know Christian Kyrou is and all that. Yeah, so Kyrou is the big one. out of the bunch. Do we bring him back? He wants not terrible much money, but I don't know if he's one of these guys that we should lock up or if we could replace. He wants $7.95 million for 4 years. Obviously, Wilson being an RFA, will be able to bring him back for a couple more seasons at least. And we also have the decisions on like Ryan McLeod, for example, who's pretty much asking for the exact same thing as last year, so he's easy to come back. Galvis, do we want to bring him back or give it to the defensive core a different look a little bit? Obviously, he wasn't the best defensively playoff-wise. Christian Dvorak likely is gone. He's going to continue dropping off because of his age, likely. Barlow could be gone from the AHL, and then a lot of everybody else is just RFAs, so at least we should be able to keep most of this team together. And in the goaltending dilemma, we have Gabriel Degg, who's in pending RFA. We have Scarlett, who's a pending RFA. And then obviously, as I said, we do have King in the AHL, who is ready to take over that backup role. So does that push Scarlett out already, or does that push out Degg, and then we run 2 younger goalies instead of him? Like, it would be interesting to maybe take options of getting compensation for Gabriel Degg, but I don't really know. Because he did win us a Stanley Cup 1 year, so we got to keep that note. But there's our decisions we have to make this offseason. I want you guys' feedback on that if possible. And final thing, what is this draft class looking like? We have the 8th overall selection, and there's no guaranteed medium elite at that stage. There's some top 6 forwards, though, like Adamski. Look and see if there's any steals. It's mostly just top 6 forwards, it looks like. So we might have to try and move up if we want, which we do have the assets to move if we want to. We could always draft more defenders, too. Manderville. Ooh, Manderville might be medium elite. Tough to tell. He's probably not. He's probably like a medium forward that's a high overall, but he has got maybe some really good stat lines. So Clifford Manderville is definitely on my wild card list. Same with Dwight Asham. I don't know if he's medium elite, but he's definitely got a high overall at least. Jamie Bolt is probably just a normal top 6. I do want to go back to the earlier starts of the first round. Is there anybody worth moving up for? A franchise 2-way defenseman. Wow, okay. I've never actually had a franchise defender before in franchise mode, I'm pretty sure. Other than guys like Hale McCarr, who are already are already real players. Interesting. I don't know if the team that has the first overall pick would be willing to move that, but we definitely have the assets we could move if we really want to get that first overall pick. And then we get ourselves a franchise defender to help out with the defensive core we already have. That might be doable. That might be doable. I don't remember who has the first overall pick, but we could easily move our first round pick, that's 8th overall, our own first round pick, who's later. We could even move some prospects that we aren't going to utilize. I think there's a chance we might be able to move up, but I don't know how costly it's going to be for a guy that's franchised. So, but it would be very nice to have a franchise defenseman on this team. Yeah, especially if he's a 2-way, which it looks like he could be. Yeah, I think he's definitely a 2-way based on the great puck mover, the heavy slap shot. That would be an interesting player to bring in for sure for this team. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the draft and re-sign stage. We'll obviously make some huge decisions on what we want to do with this team going forward. But obviously coming off a second round exit, it's a little bit disappointing, but obviously we're still a young team, and we definitely just need to probably maybe make a couple tweaks on the defensive side of things, maybe the bottom 6 as well. And I think our team could win a Stanley Cup again. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.